Have you ever had one of those experiences where, sure, you can't fully explain it, but if you tried to, you would sound a little crazy? Hey everyone, it's Gina. You're listening to Seer Sessions, where I bring you conversations and hypnotic journeys to help you quiet your mental noise, rebuild your self-trust, and reconnect to your inner knowing. This episode is audio only. I won't be doing video for a bit on the podcast. The vast majority of you are just listening anyway. And so no video. And if you're looking for something to do with your eyes, look at a tree, look at the sky, or multitask. Okay, so those experiences that you can't explain. We've all had it before. You know something before you should know it. Maybe you know something's going to happen before it happens. Maybe you know someone's going to say something before they say it. Maybe you're like me and you have full-on telepathic conversations with your dogs or your pets, or even like random birds outside. And so many of us have been to a place where it just feels familiar. Like, I've never been here, but this feels like home. And home is a feeling, you know? But here's the thing. I think that we think of these things as like way out there, paranormal. And if we just thought of it as an extension of our intuition, we could get even more out of it. And I'm talking about, having even better communication with your pets, having communication with your plants, even being able to interpret your dreams or lucid dream. When we can pause and just have awareness and presence in these times where we are experiencing something that is outside of logic or the way the five senses typically work, it's not only a good way to just be present and train your mind, but it also allows us to kind of understand a little bit more what's going on around us, and also what's going on inside of us. And that's just a way to get to know yourself better. Like I've been saying all summer on Seer Sessions, we are going out there, and not as a way to escape, but to understand ourselves even more in that contrast. And the more we treat these things as real, or the possibility of being real, the more your world opens up to it. And I'm not only talking about just like your ability to, say, commune with nature or experience things in the unseen realm, but even like your algorithm will be different. Like, my algorithm shows me things that validates, like, we can use energy to heal. Science has proven it. I follow like things about quantum physics, things that help me open myself up even more to the possibility of these things. And a couple weeks ago, when I was planning in more detail, like the August podcast, hypnotic journeys, and what I was going to talk about in this episode, I was thinking about our awareness and our connection to not only the idea of like aliens and ETs, but elementals and our pets and our plants. And I've read a few things, and if you're a plant person and you want to connect more with nature, more with your intuition, your plants are a great way to exercise that. Ask your AI or Google it. Plants have sentience, and it's actually pretty interesting the things that they've studied with plants and how plants can respond to us. So I was really thinking about this like a couple weeks ago, like I said, and at the same time I was like on my to-do list was to plant these succulents that I was propagating. And the succulent was a donkey tail. So it's got this little, I don't know, leaf, but it's kind of like a little oval thing. And the roots that come off of it were super long. And I was trying to put it in a hole in the dirt in a pot. And every time I was like slowly putting it in there, the roots, I swear to God, would reach for the end of like the outside of that container every time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels like a magnet. You know, when you try to put certain magnets together and they actually repel, and it seems like there's something invisible in between them that's like stopping it. That's how the roots felt. So I just like paused for a second and I was like, okay, what is going on? Just when you kind of strike out 10 times in a row, it's like, what is going on here? So I took a minute and I just intentionally, I looked at the roots, I looked at this little succulent thing, and I intentionally said, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get your roots in this hole, in this dirt, in this container, so you can live there. This is made for you to live. Like, you got to do it. You got to put your roots in that hole. So I'm going to lower you down. You're going to put your roots in that hole. And I'm not kidding you, you guys. I lowered this thing down. The roots did not move, and they just went right in the hole. I'm glad we're talking about this on the podcast. This month on Seer Sessions, I'm giving you the opportunity to explore non-human intelligence and lifetimes, elementals, the elements themselves, crystals, UFOs, contact experiences, and whatever else is in the unknown. I certainly don't have all the answers, and I'm not using this to prove these things are real. I'm going to give you the space, the opportunity, the hypnotic journeys to play around with your ability to access this information, to make some contact. The thing that's most important to me is that you still have the lightness and curiosity in your heart to explore these things. And the more you lean into that and explore these things, your perspective will shift and change naturally, automatically. It doesn't even matter what your intention is. It's good to have an intention. You should have an intention, and I'll be talking to you about that. But when we can explore and experience these really out there things, it teaches us things about ourselves. Now, of course, we can have all kinds of out there experiences and never once learn a thing about ourselves, but that's not the realm you're in when you're listening to this podcast. So these hypnotic journeys are going to be designed for you this month to really experience non-human life, answer your questions about other things in the unseen realms. And all of that really is set up for you to be able to do it without losing yourself inside that unknown. Because what's so scary is the unknown of these unseen realms. And of course, we should be afraid of that. We don't know what we're kicking up, right? But all the exploring I've done with myself, with clients over the last 8 to 13 years, really, 8 years with clients, 13 years on my own, how we operate in these unseen realms and the confidence that we can create there translates into your everyday life. You are you, no matter if you're in the grocery store or you're in the 11th dimension on a different planet. You are you. And when you can explore these kind of out there topics and experiences, it's not only expands your mind, but it expands your perspective on your own life and your perspective on who you are, which I think is the most important part in all of it. So in June, we opened the door into expanded awareness. We explored things like astral projection, how fear narrows our awareness. And that was really the deeper point of June. It was to understand how fear can contract your perception. And how when we can feel something else besides fear, we can just begin to expand our perception and our awareness, not only to what's going on around us, but within us. And then in July, we brought that expanded awareness into other lifetimes. Your identity in this lifetime, parallel selves, timelines, the life you almost lived, whether you're on the right path or not. Basically, in July, we explored the emotional ache of feeling like you're not living the life that you came here to live. So with that, we explored different versions of you to help you feel more alive, creative, present, happy in your own life today. And the point of the arc through July was really trying to reflect and see what parts of you are still trying to come alive. If you walk through this life with feelings of am I on my path? Did I miss my path? What is my purpose? Or just these general feelings of I thought it would be more, or maybe you thought you could do or be more. All of that comes down to what is rising within you? What is being unacknowledged? What wants to be nourished and to come alive? And then in August, it's all about non-human intelligence. What can we sense there in the natural world, the unseen realms around us? And again, the point is not to disconnect from reality. It's to become even more connected to yourself, even more knowing of yourself. So what do I mean when I say non-human intelligence? Because I mean that phrase very broadly. I do not only mean aliens, whatever that might mean. I mean intelligence, energy, presence, communication, patterns. So that might be communication with animals. I mean, if you've ever lived with a pet who you were close to, you already know there's an intelligence that does not need language. They are communicating in so many ways. You know, your dog or cat can read the room. It can know your mood before you've admitted it to yourself. I know my dogs respond to tone, energy, movement. That is intelligence. Even plants have intelligence. Now, I know some people might be like, okay, plants. But it's true, they do. Like, there is science that has proven it. And then when I think of non-human intelligence, I also put in that like crystals. And not because I think crystals are like talking to me or trying to talk to me, but more like they can hold meaning. Like we can put meaning on it, someone else can put meaning on it, and we can then say, yeah, I agree. And then we put that same meaning and intention on that. We have the ability with our attention and our intention and the energy of us in any present moment, we have the opportunity to make other things even feel more alive than they would be outside of the bubble of human attention. And I don't think that that's all imagination. This month is really just to create some space where it's like, you know what? I don't know what this is. I don't have to know what this is, but I'm going to take my own meaning and my own symbols from it. Like being less worried about like, is this literal, and more about like, how does this change me? How does this help me know myself better? Because when we know ourselves, we can relate to anything and any experience with way more confidence and curiosity and discernment. So we can like be open, but we can be incredibly focused on what we let in or what we take with us. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Discernment. I'm not talking about fear. I'm not talking about paranoia. When I say discernment, like understanding yourself and understanding what is for you and not for you, how do we do that? Well, we start by spending time with ourselves intentionally. If you don't know who you are or where you're going, I just don't know how you have discernment. I know for me, I used to be like, okay, I can communicate my boundaries, I can identify boundaries I would like, but they collapse pretty easy. Sometimes I'm kind of on the fence with my boundaries. And guess what? I did not know who I was or where I was going at those times. And being where I'm at right now in my life, I've never been so crystal clear on who I am and where I'm going. It is so clear where I'm going, and you don't even have to know the details of it as you sit here and listen to me talk about it, but you can know that if you and I were in a room together or planning something together, I'm going to be operating in alignment with who I am and what I'm doing. I'm not going to make a decision, regret it, stifle those feelings, let resentment build up and then take it out on you, or, blow up the partnership. No, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know how I want to feel and what will get me there. And anything that gets in the way of that is going to be addressed. It's not necessarily it's immediately eliminated, but it is going to be addressed. And it's from that space that I don't feel weird about boundaries, because who wouldn't want me to shine as bright as I can? Who wouldn't want me to go for the dreams and the lifestyle that my little heart desires? I know who I am and where I'm going. And so that discernment is so easy. So if you know who you are and where you're going and you're able to discern, if you have a weird dream where you're like, oh my God, I think I was abducted by aliens. Or maybe in your quieter moments, you're like, I've been having an experience with a fairy in my backyard. You're not going to automatically like shut it down. Is that weird? And instead, you're open to it. You can hold space for it. You can see it completely. And it's this sense of like, does this bring me closer to who I want to be or farther away? And then take action accordingly. So that's what discernment is like. The blade, it's like the thing you want in your tool belt after you get to know yourself. Okay, so I cannot talk about non-human intelligence and life without talking about the salvation fantasy. Now, I get it. I love a salvation fantasy. It would make me feel so good if there was a man or an alien or a team of aliens who were coming to save us. But that is not what's happening. There needs to be more of us who are exploring these unseen realms, who aren't then also pushing this narrative forward of like, it's going to be okay, someone's going to save us soon. No, no one is going to save us. Like, if you do any reading of history, of the way people lived, the way average people thought, every single generation thinks the world is ending. Every single generation thinks there's some sort of salvation or savior coming to get them. But this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen, you guys. So stop waiting on the universe. Stop waiting for the salvation. We need to be in our lives today, figure out who we are and where we're going, and then take the action, the steps needed to bring our own beautiful gifts into this world to make it a beautiful place. It is not enough to complain about the other side, and if there is an other side, you're already behind. Okay? We are in this together. We are going down together. If we are fighting, it will go down quicker and more painfully. So we have to find a way where we can see it all, have our emotions and opinions about it, and not get swept up in it. Swept up in the rage, in the terror, in the waiting for someone to save us. Being a human is hard. Having agency is even harder. Making your own damn decisions and not being able to blame it on anyone else is triple harder. Living through uncertainty is difficult. Trusting yourself when the world is like, you're crazy, you shouldn't trust yourself. These things are so difficult, but that's the work right now. Our inner authority is the thing that matters. I mean, to me, I'm going through a lot. I mean, in the last 3 years, it's just been so clear to me that this is the thing that matters most, at least right now. In my own life, the clients I've been working with, it always comes back to our inner knowing, living in alignment with who we are and where we're going. We have to do that. Because, I mean, I'm at the point right now where if someone's talking in a spiritual way, they have a spiritual lifestyle, but they're not telling you how to come back to yourself, how to not get swept away by that and the fantasy of it, I am suspect of those people. And not that they're trying to do something wrong, it's more so they're behind. You have to come back to you. It's the whole point of life here. And of course, hypnosis is my favorite way to explore these edges. Hypnosis gives us that container, a place for your body to completely relax and your conscious mind to release her grip a little bit. So these subconscious knowings, emotional memories, your imagination, your intuition, your inner knowing, all of these things become easier to access. So it's like you get to know it. You get to know their flavor. You get to know how it feels, how it sounds. And when you do it in that intensely focused state of hypnotic trance, you're able to experience that even more in your conscious daily living. It's like if there was a clock ticking in the background and I made you get quiet and listen to it, it would be so much easier for you to listen to that clock and hear it ticking in the background, even as you're talking, even as you're working, even as you're like distracted. It's the same thing. You open your awareness to it and then you can't unsee it. And you just do that more and more with different hypnotic journeys, and you learn different things about yourself along the way. But overall, you're deepening that connection to yourself over and over in all kinds of ways. A question that comes up often is it safe to do these things? Should I be exploring in this way? we should be very intentional about how we enter these spaces and these explorations, which is another reason why I love to use these guided hypnotic journeys, because they give you that space. The way I set up the induction is designed for you to be in an elevated state of consciousness, of unconditional love, when you go into these experiences. And it's when we're in that state of peace and unconditional love in our heart, in our body, that we go in and have an even better experience. Even if you have a shadowy thing come up, you have this really wise, loving part of you that's able to see it and learn from it. So let's talk about those hypnotic journeys this month. Episode 284 is the first journey of the month. It's that bedtime hypnotic journey. If you ever feel rattled, if you ever feel like you're not clear enough, or you ever feel like you're not discerning enough, turn on this hypnotic journey every single night as you drift off to sleep, and it's going to help you wind down. Completely relax, let it all go, so you can just drift off to sleep. So this is if you've been feeling drained or scattered or overstimulated. Sometimes I just get this feeling of like being so affected by everything around me. You know, like I talk to someone and I feel like I can feel their emotions. I listen to like a news story or a headline, and it just, the emotions stick with me. So in those times, that's why I created this hypnotic journey. So it's for you to be able to relax and fall asleep at night. But not only that, if you do it every night for 30 nights, layer upon layer, it's going to get easier and easier for you to understand what deserves your attention. And that's a big part of discernment. Yeah, you could think about all the bad things, or you could think about all the good things. Like, what deserves your attention? And if you're anything like me, ooh, does my mind love to waffle and ruminate on all the things that I should feel bad about. And even the shit I shouldn't feel bad about, but a part of me wants me to feel bad about. So if that's you, turn to this hypnotic journey. I recommend you do it every night for 30 nights. Lay on those layers. Come out of the month of August even more you, even more discerning, all while having these out there experiences and stories to tell. Episode 285, that is our journey beyond human identity. Oh, this is another lifetime journey, one that you can take to experience a non-human life. So let me tell you a little bit about this, because I did not create this so you could like prove you're from an alien race. I mean, if you do that, let me know what happens. You might see an alien life. You might see a life from the future. You might see an elemental life. You might see a life you don't really understand. Maybe you're like living inside a cave or the earth or a mountain. That was my latest client who took a journey to a lifetime that was not human. And she did that because she was dealing with all kinds of chronic pain and just could not get out of her negative cycles with pain, with her perception with it. So it was like, let's shed it all. Let's go way out there, take you out of this human experience and see how you can reflect and make a change. And what she came out of that with was a whole new experience for life on Earth. To have a body like this, to be able to sit in the sun, hear the birds, and see the sparkle on the water or the snow, and to come out of an experience like that, she not only got to experience like the power and the divinity and the magic of this non-human lifetime, but then she could come back here and have even more appreciation for all the little things that make up life on Earth that we often completely glaze over while we're doom scrolling, like actually on our phones or just like in our brain. Who knows what you're going to experience in this journey, but it's set up for you to experience something outside of being a human. You know, I'm going to say it. If you do it and have a great experience, I want to hear about it. Let me know. This hypnotic journey, I recommend doing one time this month. And then anytime you have a curiosity about a non-human life, or you just need to get out of your body for a little bit, come back to this hypnotic journey. And then the final hypnotic journey of the month is episode 286. And that is a journey to your higher self, your inner knowing, the capital Y you, the capital S self about you. And that is really a check-in for you. I say do it at the end of the month. after you've been doing that nighttime hypnotic journey for a few weeks, you do that journey to another lifetime. You expand your awareness, you learn some more things about yourself, you get some answers, and you probably get even a few questions about all of this. And that is the perfect time to do this higher self journey. So in this journey, we're going to go to your higher self and we're going to ask questions like, what's useful for you to know about the unknown right now? Where are you being invited to be more curious? How can you embody more discernment? Where do you need more of it in your life? And even more in that one. It's really just, I was pulling out questions like clients that have been on similar hypnotic journeys, similar experiences. Like, what are the follow-up questions that we ask in those sessions? And that's what I put into that hypnotic journey. And it all comes back to that central theme of discernment and how do you stay open in exploring these unseen realms and your intuition in general without like totally handing yourself over or getting overwhelmed by the things that you're experiencing. And that's beneficial whether you're here on Earth or exploring a non-human life. That is the topic of the month. Those are the hypnotic journeys. And for this week, just notice what gets your attention. As you're moving through your everyday life, just become aware of not only what you choose to focus on, but what just like hooks you, what just pulls you in, and what kind of emotions come from that. And does it make you feel drained or does it make you feel nourished? Do you feel like calm and open? Do you feel frantic and open? Just notice that. Just notice what gets your attention. Notice what pulls at your mind. Notice how it makes you feel. And you don't even have to do anything about it. You just noticing that more and more, you will start to intrinsically, authentically notice things in your life where you're like, don't like that. I got to change that. And eventually you will. You'll start to notice the things that pull at your attention. And you'll start to want to pull it back and control where you put it. And that, my friend, is the whole point. So just notice, practice, noticing yourself, hearing yourself, play with it, decide maybe what you want to strengthen. Trust yourself. And I will be back next week.